Welcome, everybody to the show. We are your hosts, Chase and Myles, and we are at the Lucky Duck. What's happening, Myles? What are you doing all over there in that TV screen?
Just chilling. I'm halfway across the world
Nice.
in the state of Colorado.
Oh, wait. Why didn't
Oh,
you just come? Why didn't you just come over? You lazy piece of shit.
I'm pretty lazy. No, actually, COVID exposure, so quarantine, just hanging out at home today, being safe. But we've got a super cool guest on, so we wanted to make sure we could get the podcast done.
Well, speaking of the guest, who is the strikingly handsome man sitting right across from me today?
Well, to tell you that, I'm going to have to tell you a pretty long story. So, ladies and gentlemen, grab your drinks, take a few sips, and then keep sipping because it's a long story. It all started when I was 11 years old. Chase was probably around the same age as me. I think I'm older than him, but he might be older than me. Doesn't really matter. This little son of a bitch was born, came right out my mom. I mean, it was like it was like a water slide. God damn it. He just came flying out. I caught him. He was sometimes enjoyable to be around, mostly kind of a pain. I'd babysit him every once in a while. But I got to know him. And at first, I thought his name was Ethan. And that's what I would call him for a long time. But I swear to God, when I was 7 years old, I finally actually realized that his name is Ethan. So that was kind of weird. After that, he grew up to be kind of a badass. He's someone that I look up to, even though he's younger than me. He's a brilliant person. He's getting ready to go into college, so he's just come out of high school. He's just killing it. His grades are awesome. I think he probably wants to do the same stuff as me because I'm a pretty cool role model. But we've been wanting to have this guy on the podcast for a long time. We've mentioned him before. He was once known as an intern. He eventually got fired from that role. We're not going to talk about it. But ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome Ethan Anderson.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
How's it going?
It's a pleasure to have you, buddy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here.
And what's it like listening to all the podcasts, because you've been a fan from day one. Appreciate that.
Big fan.
What's it like being on the other side of the table and actually being here today?
Super surreal, I feel famous now.
Yeah, you're super famous.
I'm an A-list celebrity now.
Myles, what are you drinking over there? What do you got?
I am drinking a dry cider. I think it's called the Glider cider.
Nice.
From Colorado Cider Company. It's pretty good. Next up, I'll have some beer.
Hell yeah. And we are drinking, I am drinking a Mountain Dew
Thrashed apple.
and vodka. I got a little, green apple garnish going on. It's actually pretty tasty. By itself, the Mountain Dew, not so good.
Nope.
With the vodka, still not so good, but better, I think. I guess this is like an exclusive Mountain Dew sold in Kroger stores. Is that what it is? Right?
So, we went to King Soopers and, you just had to get it.
Yeah.
Sounds disgusting.
It is disgusting.
Dude,
it's horrible.
It's not good.
It's bad.
They're like, maybe we just keep it in King Soopers.
Yeah.
And also, you told me that this came out last summer, and somehow they still
Yep.
have stock, which was kind of concerning and probably a red flag.
Well, no, I think it was like, Kroger, like most stores have a flavor, I think, and Kroger's didn't have one. So, Kroger's owns all these different little micro stores.
Also, isn't it kind of weird that they have, like, each store has its own flavor?
Yeah.
That is weird. I've never heard of that, to be honest. Pretty sure you're lying.
Yeah, I'm definitely lying. Cap,
Yeah.
100%.
What is Walmart's flavor?
Pretty sure it's frostbite.
What about Target?
Yeah, I don't know.
Didn't
What about Publix?
yeah, Publix.
I don't know.
What about Taco Bell?
Talk about Baja Blast, baby.
Obviously.
Don't they have
Did you guys know
what?
they made they're making a Mountain Dew alcoholic beverage?
Yeah.
I don't really know what to call that.
We were in my home state, Florida. We could have it, but out
Dude, it already came out
Yeah.
apparently, and they're only selling it in
it was like Florida, Iowa, and
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, if y'all live, I know we got some listeners in Florida at the very least. Holla at you, boy. Send me a case of those sweet, sweet Baja Blast hard ciders, whatever the fuck they're calling them,
Yeah.
because I gotta get me some of that. I'm not too keen on this one, although I will include it in our super secret, super awesome. That's actually a really good name for the bar book. Super secret, super awesome recipe book. Bar drink book.
Yeah.
Just because we'll have every single drink from the show on that, but not something I'd have a repeat drink of.
Yeah, I'm drinking it straight up. I really regret the decision to go to King Soopers and buy this. It was more of like hey, King Soopers has an exclusive. Might as well try it,
Well, they don't have King Supers where you're from,
No.
which is the main reason why you were so excited to
Yeah.
try it. Yeah.
Otherwise,
So you're going to put this recipe in the book, but you're just telling people right now, if you're listening to this episode, don't make that one.
Yeah, don't do it unless you're crazy.
because you really love green apple.
Unless you're crazy.
Unless you're like one of those people
By the time,
that eats only the green apple Jolly Ranchers in the bag.
Yeah.
Yep.
oh, exactly.
If you're the
By the-
guy that's going to Taco Bell just to get Baja Blast, that's also what I do. You'll be disappointed because it's nothing
Yeah.
like Baja Blast.
It's pretty bad. I love Mountain Dew, but this is bad.
Yeah.
By the time the bar book comes out, there's probably going to be a recall on this Mountain Dew. Gives you cancer or something.
I'm going to try to get Mountain Dew to sponsor us because of how cool I made this drink look. And then they're going to not even like listen to the podcast. and then they're going to somebody's be like, yo, why are you sponsoring them? They totally shit on your flavor.
Dude, it's bad.
I mean, I'm just kidding. It's the best drink
Yeah.
I've ever had. What
Honestly-
are you talking about? Give me money.
Honestly, I would throw it away for
Just being honest.
Yeah, I'm just trying to full transparency, folks. It's gross. Have you guys seen I think it's like for some reason. Oh, you know who brought this up? Scott in the last podcast. It was Red Lobster for a while had a Do-A-Rita, I think it was called.
Yeah. I did
And it
listen-
was
Yes.
yeah. Let me just pull this shit up because it looks hella toxic.
Was it Red Lobster or Applebee's? I feel like it's an Applebee's
Red
thing.
Lobster.
I think it's Red Lobster.
I've
though.
listened to it like 4 times.
Oh,
You know?
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
then we fired him.
Listen,
Oh.
listen. We're not going to get into that.
Yeah, you have an NDA, sir. Why are you bringing it up? Yeah,
I never signed this one.
Well,
this what it looked like. Look at that shit. If you guys are just listening, you're only getting half the show here, folks. We will try to keep it listener friendly, but also check us out on YouTube. Basically, what we're looking at is a margarita glass, and the margarita is just Mountain Dew, but it looks like Mountain Dew with green food coloring in it. Like it doesn't like Mountain Dew. Kind of when you pour it into a glass, kind of does look like what a fresh margarita looks like. And then they got this. I think it's like a spicy rim rim job.
I hope it's not spicy.
Oh,
Yeah.
speaking of spicy, check this shit out. What was it called? Mountain Dew.
Oh, Flamin' Hot?
Dew Flamin' Hot.
Dude, that
you heard
that is
this, Miles?
nasty. That has to be nasty.
No.
It's a thing, dude. Look at this. Look at this. What is that? What is that?
I just got heartburn.
I thought you said I just got hard or something.
It's
What is
different.
that? What is that? It's like a spicy drink, I don't know many spicy drinks out there.
It's
And
like
then here's another like I don't know if that one's that looks like a terrible
looks
rendering.
fan made.
Look at that.
Is it real?
Yeah, you were able to buy it off the website for a while. I'm pretty sure.
But not anymore.
I don't know. Maybe.
Here's what it looks
All right,
like.
we may have to.
Red.
Of course it's red. What other color did you think it was gonna be?
I don't know. Like the spark is clear. Is it yellow? Sparks are yellow or red?
Is the container next to it? Is that like a nuclear waste container?
It's for effect. Pay no attention to the
Yeah.
hazardous
Dude,
material.
they need
in
a
the
hazardous
background.
material for this. Let me tell you.
Yeah, so here's where you could buy. It was on the Dew store. By the way, we are not sponsored yet by Mountain Dew, but here's where you can buy it. I guess it's sold out though.
I feel like we need to figure out where to buy this and then have this on a future
It was
podcast.
expensive.
Yeah.
Someone sent it to me. They're like, "Oh, did you see this?" And I was like, "Dude, that is nasty."
I wonder if it's more sugary than spicy because I'm having a hard time conceptualizing the taste of a sweet spicy drink.
Yeah. Hey, why don't you go on the Mountain Dew website and see if you can still buy it?
You know, it might be
You're just typing like Flamin' Hot Mountain Dew. Buy.
it may be the healthiest Mountain Dew that you could buy because it might just have no sugar in it.
Most of them. I'll have them no sugar in it.
Yeah.
It's just all habanero.
How much sugar is in one of these cans? Here, grab that and let us know.
It's
Yeah,
43 grams.
43 grams.
87% of your.
Holy shite!
What?
Miles, weren't we looking at that the other day?
Yeah, it has more sugar in it than 4 donuts, I believe.
Oh my God! Really?
Which, like, okay, but also, I could have guessed that. You know,
That's why I
Also-
usually drink zero sugar.
What kind of donuts are we talking about here? Are we talking about Krispy Kreme donuts, Walmart chocolate frosted donuts, which I think we all know are the best?
yeah,
Or are we talking about Lamar's donuts? You know?
yeah, that's true. Or voodoo donut.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Those definitely have more sugar than anything.
I gotta say though, I was listening to it was like a TikTok. I'm just gonna dunk this like a donut.
Yeah, what is this? Is this a pineapple?
No, it's a green apple.
Yeah.
Ah, green. Totally makes sense.
Yep. It kind of does taste like the drink though, so they did kind of nail
Yeah.
the green apple taste.
You just don't like green apple.
I just don't like it. Yeah.
I don't see somebody being like, "Hey, I really want green apple Mountain Dew."
If you like that taste, I guess you'd be
Yeah.
into this, but it's just not for me. It could be for some other people though.
I'm sure.
They said it was like a two, I guess not scientists but doctors talking, or nutritionists or whatever. That pseudoscience called nutrition.
Yeah.
And they were saying out of like the 5,000 subsets of data of like different foods and candies, it may have been even more subsets or sets of data. That the worst one was Skittles.
Oh man, that sucks.
Because it was like a refined carbohydrate or refined sugars. I don't know. I don't want to butcher it, but basically they were like, just don't eat them. They're terrible. And then I had this like really sinking feeling in my stomach because I know that I probably can't surmise or imagine how many I've eaten in my lifetime.
Yeah,
just
same.
so many.
Just so good.
I wonder what your colon looks like. It's just a rainbow.
I haven't eaten them in a while, Miles. Okay.
That's a lie. Don't lie.
No, I mean they just permanently change the color of your colon to a rainbow. What if you die? They do an autopsy on you. They pull out your colon, and it's just a fucking rainbow tube.
Dude, taste the rainbow. What if they just licks it?
And then Skittles uses this as a commercial.
Oh man, that's pretty. When you were interning at the morgue all those years ago, did you see any rainbow colons?
No, I can't say I did. They were all pretty normal, you know.
What does a colon look like?
Yeah.
Miles?
No constitutes normal.
It kind of looks like the casing on a sausage.
Yeah.
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 It kind of looks like that material, but it's kind of like more ribbed and bubbly.
Yeah.
Bubbly. That's not the word I wanted to hear, but thank you. Yeah, that's cool. So Ethan, welcome to Colorado.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
What do we want to talk about today?
I don't know. What do you want to talk about today?
I don't know. What's it like? You got your job,
Yeah.
which is crazy because you told me how much you get paid.
Mm-hmm.
And you work at, we won't say the name of it, but you work at, let's just call it one of the biggest retailers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
We'll call it Big Blue. We'll call them Big Blue.
Yeah.
Okay. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And how long ago did you start working there?
A little bit over half a year ago.
Yeah. And without saying how much you make, unless you're comfortable saying it, it's about double the amount of money that I made my first job.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like so weird to think.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like? I guess going from a teenager earning no money to all of a sudden having, I wouldn't call it a high paying job, but
Yeah.
it's, when I started out making like $8 an hour.
Yeah.
And then when I got to college, I got this internship. It was a paid internship. And then they started paying me $12. I quit my other job, and then I was making $12 all of a sudden. It was like a $4 difference. I think it was $12.50 actually. And I felt like I was balling.
Yeah.
It was pretty nice. I was like,
You bought so much beer.
I don't want to brag or anything, but your boy's rolling in dough. So to hear that you make considerably more than that, it's gotta be nice to take home some bit of cash at your age.
Yeah. So I make about 2 times what you said you were making in high school.
Yep.
So
Don't want to brag about it.
don't
Let's
wanna brag
take
about
it easy.
it. Don't wanna
Take
brag
it
about
easy.
it is a pretty big difference going from like not making any money and then having, I don't want to say fat paychecks, but like
Fat money,
but like
wads.
I started a job when I was 16. I'm 17 now. So at 16 years old, having that much money coming in from like what someone would consider like a minimum wage job, even though it's not minimum wage, where it would be like, oh, you work there, you know, it's like, oh, haha, suck it. I'm getting paid a lot of money, right?
Well, the other thing is, Ethan was used to being paid on an intern wage, and as soon as that changed, he just changed into a different person. You know what I mean? It was like
Money really changed.
It really changed me.
he got this job. Next thing I know, he's not returning my calls. He basically just ghosted me.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it's fine. We won't get into it. You know.
We won't get into it. Yeah.
We settled. Let's just say out of court.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Yeah, we did.
breached your terms of employment, which is
Yeah. I'll pay you back the money if you want.
And to be honest, that's what's gotten us through this second season. We wouldn't have gotten through it if we hadn't gotten the settlement money. So thank you.
Yeah, that's
The
true.
new mics, settlement money.
Yeah, it's kind of helped boost up marketing too. We were spending hella ad dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really, you thought you were getting fat paychecks, but really, you were paying us fat paychecks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of marketing, which we don't really do much of here at the Lucky Duck, so we really rely on people like you giving us 5-star ratings on Apple Podcasts and just sharing our social medias. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok, whatever.
Also, please smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm.
Smash it, baby. Get over there and just fucking annihilate it. So I was on Instagram, and I had just posted the thumbnail of I think it was episode 28 with Joe Natalie, our good friend Joe. Shout out to Joe Byron. Speaking of Joe Byron, in the post I said, had a great time talking with Joe Biden, and which solicited a bunch of like bots and stuff in the comment section. But then Instagram was like, "Hey, we're gonna give you $10 to boost your ad or your post," and I was like, "Okay, sounds good." you can choose like basically how you want to spend that $10, right? It's like how much you want to spend per day, blah blah blah. Miles, you probably know a little bit more about this than I do because of your cool ass adventuring eyes Instagram. You should follow them too.
Yeah.
But so I set it up. You know, I do all the things. I set it to spend like $5 a day for the next 2 days. Then it extinguishes the credit that they gave me, and then I send it in. I guess they have like a review process before they allow you to advertise, as they should, right? To make sure people aren't doing malicious things with advertising. But then like a day later, or maybe it was like 2 days later, I get a rejection notice, and it was like your ad has been rejected due to, I think it said, breaking guidelines of political discourse or something. Because I guess like I said Joe Biden, but it actually didn't have Joe Biden on. So
Oh my God.
this just means it works. The checking system that Instagram has implemented, or my guy at Instagram was like, nah, dude. Everything else good, not this one.
Yeah.
Not so cool. You can't say you had Joe Biden on when you didn't
You
actually
know,
have him on.
maybe TikTok could take some cues from them, because you guys ever see the ads on TikTok? I think the worst ones are the video game ads, the mobile phone ads, where it'll be like, have you played this game yet? And it'll be this kind of cool looking game that you usually recognize. And it's a game that you've played, except it's not the game they're advertising. They just stole the footage from another game.
Totally, yeah.
It's like, how is this on here?
I used to see that all the time on Reddit as well. Like Reddit had a pretty bad problem with that, where it was like a lot of cutscene footage, and then I'd click on it just because I was interested, and it was like Bejeweled or something. I'm like, what the fuck? This is not cool. So anyway, shout out to Instagram for actually double checking whether or not Joe Biden was on the podcast. He was.
Yeah.
Now I'm in the stage of gaslighting. But
The thing is there only one Joe Biden in the world? I mean, can't there be more than one? What if our friend likes to go by Joe Biden?
Yeah,
What if that he just
well, yeah, I added him.
Yeah, did tag the account.
Yeah, I may
Okay.
have specifically pointed to one particular Joe Biden.
He didn't have
I
Instagram,
mean,
you did tag him in the caption, and then you also did tag him in the photo as well.
Damn it.
So I don't think you're getting away with that one. I'm sorry.
His
do
sorry, go ahead, Mouse.
you think he gets notifications about it? Like, do you think he actually looked? I think he looked.
He got
Yeah,
it.
no,
and he
yeah.
was like, he's looking at his mentions, as politicians do, I guess, these days when they do stupid shit. And he was like, at the Lucky Duck. And then he forgot he was on Instagram, and he kept scrolling. Actually, you know what we should do? Just like to double check that these AIs are working is Spotify, who we are on. If you guys are listening on Spotify, thank you for listening. Really appreciate it.
That's me.
Is they have that COVID misinformation or COVID information banner whenever somebody talks about COVID. We should just say a bunch of ridiculous things about COVID and see if it actually works, and we get blue bannered.
Someone has to report you though.
COVID started in a lab.
Like, I think Joe Rogan's podcast has one of those little beautiful blue
On
banners
like
with it.
every episode.
Yeah, I think someone just like
The vaccine.
podcast.
The vaccine has microchips in it.
Yeah.
Government's trying to control us.
5G.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I got when I went to go get one shot, I got one shot in one arm and another shot in the other arm, which means I have dual band 5G. Just want to say
Extra
it's
speed.
Pretty sure you've made this joke before. Let's just we'll axe this part.
Yeah.
We'll cut it out.
Cut it. And Mountain Dew anybody? I'm spiraling. Yeah, so what else can we say that's incorrect about COVID-19? COVID-19 is actually called COVID-20.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard about this new strand, COVID-21?
Did you know that Donald Trump invented the COVID vaccine?
Yeah.
Himself in the lab.
Project Lightspeed, Project Lightyear, Buzz
No,
Lightyear.
it was Brightspeed,
Oh,
Brightspeed Internet. Yeah.
Breitbart.
Whoa, that's definitely gonna get us
Oh,
the
no.
warning.
Yes, got him. All right, so we'll check. We'll check back in after this is posted to see if we did any.
Hopefully,
damage.
I'll report it like 5 times before you. Don't worry.
You know, Ethan, I think that you should tell us the most interesting thing you've heard in your life.
Can I do scene? Can I say what I've seen? Wait, heard or okay? Because like heard's like
Yeah,
I've heard a
the
lot
mo-
of good things. Seen is
just
different. Because
whatever,
Yeah.
whatever you want to do.
One time I was inside of a Walmart, minding my own business, right? Getting some stuff. Look around the corner. There is a man in a full latex suit on a leash on the ground. I sent you guys a picture, I think, at one point.
What?
He was in Mickey Disney ears as well. That's definitely the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Inside of a Walmart.
So wait, this guy describe what he looked like again?
So it was just like he was pretty fat. It was huge. I mean, and then he was on all fours in a complete like latex suit. I think I might have a picture still. In like Mickey ears, and he was on a leash, and the woman was walking him through Walmart. That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Hell yeah! I
Wow.
want to be that guy for like a day.
I was just thinking if you could get into the details of when and where this was, I could cross check it with Chase's calendar.
That may have been me. I may have
Yeah.
been doing that day. Actually, was it a Tuesday? That's my Tuesday.
Yeah, it was a Tuesday.
Wait, you should definitely find that photo and then send it to me so I can put it up on the screen.
I have 2 photos. I sent one to you guys. There's one of him in all fours. It's very zoomed out.
I don't remember this.
I sent it in the family group chat, and then Mom was like, "Why did you send that?" And I was like, "Cause it's funny."
Time to find it.
Here,
I don't remember this either. I think maybe we'll have this on our Patreon if you guys want to go take a look
Because it
there.
could be X-rated.
God,
It's free. You can go.
A long time ago I sent it.
Oh no. So this guy was what he so that it's a fetish, right? It's like
like a latex fetish.
Well,
Yeah.
This is a layered, very complex situation we
Yeah.
have going on here.
It is pretty.
Because not only does he have a latex fetish, but it sounds like he likes being dominated. And
Yeah.
he likes being dominated in a way where he's like a dog or a pet
Yeah.
In public.
in public. So then he's an exhibitionist too.
Yeah.
So
He's on different layers. He's on levels.
he's on. Excuse me. He's on this next level shit where he's like, "Yo, put me in a latex suit." I wonder.
Can you sort photos by like where they were taken on like iPhone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I can just find the Walmart.
Yeah. So basically, like, I wonder, can Walmart kick him out?
I assume so. I mean,
he's not necessarily
he's not doing anything.
But also,
yeah.
like, what the actual fuck?
Yeah.
Well, I think it depends. I mean, you guys saw the thing somewhat recently. I think it was Delta Airlines kicked off some passenger who was wearing a T-shirt that had profanity on it. I think it was.
Yeah, but this guy's just trying to get fucking great value spaghetti noodles, dude.
No, I know. But the reason why they were legally able to do this is because in the terms of your
I found one of the photos.
All right, send it to me.
in the terms of your ticket, you it has something to do with you're not able to cause a disturbance to the other passengers or something like that. Now, if you're in Walmart, maybe Walmart has the same thing where if you go into a Walmart store, you can't cause a disturbance to other shoppers, and if you do, then they could kick you out. Now, some could say that this guy is disturbing people in a way because, you know, for whatever reason, people get offended for lots of different reasons. They get disturbed for lots of different reasons. So maybe legally they could kick him out.
Yeah. But in the photo I sent you, you might be able to see the leash, but he's not. That was where he was standing. But he was like through the aisle. He was walking on all fours. That creeped me out. I was with Kayla when that happened, my girlfriend.
Yeah, that's hold on, I'm trying to find it because Apple does this weird thing where it's like, hey, when was this photo taken? We're gonna sort it now by that.
Yeah. It was let's see, taken January 23rd.
All right,
for
cool.
this year. It must have been his New Year's resolution.
All right, let's
thinking
see.
pretty far.
I'm pulling it up. Pulling it up. Yeah. So, super weird. Hold on. I got the picture right. I got the picture right here. Hold on. Here we go.
Oh, that guy looks familiar.
Oh shit, that's not it. Hold on.
Oh.
I thought it was. I was like,
Is that not
you're
what I sent you?
describing somebody I know. So that's weird. You can see some weird shit in Walmart. That's probably the most weird encounters I've ever. No, Miles is shaking his head. No.
I have a weirder encounter,
Okay,
Yeah.
go for it.
and I almost got beat up
I think you're
because of the
Wasn't that at
encounter.
Walmart though.
Yeah, it was at Walmart.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's like the weird
Oh, I thought you.
shit you're
I
ever gonna encounter is at
okay.
Walmart.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Remind me
I thought
what
you were.
date this photo was taken.
January 23rd.
All right, 2001,
To,
2021,
no, 22.
22. Okay,
Yeah. That's pretty recent.
dude, I can't find it. That's so weird.
Dude,
Send it to me again.
Airdrop it again. Making things difficult, Chase.
Kinda again. I'm sorry, guys.
I think you can send it over iMessage.
I don't know. Maybe.
For anyone who hasn't heard my story, basically, I'm shopping in the produce aisle at my local Walmart when I lived in Fort Lauderdale. I'm there hanging out, pushing my cart, minding my own business. I I judge people, but am I an overly judgmental person? I don't like to think so. If someone's going through Walmart wearing a latex suit, I might just look at it and be like, "Oh, that's pretty interesting. That guy's in a latex suit on a leash." But I wouldn't judge him. I wouldn't think, "What the Walmart with this latex suit on tied to a leash?" Right? He's doing his own thing. Whatever. He's getting his apples. He can go. So I'm pushing my cart through Walmart. Next thing I know, I don't think I even looked at the guy before he started yelling at me. I think I was looking at the bananas, and this guy is just over here yelling at me. Why do you think it's weird that I'm carrying a suitcase through Walmart? First off, there's a lot of questions you could ask about this, right?
He's challenging
Yeah.
you now.
Exactly.
He thinks that he has to prove a point, and he's just gonna pick anybody to try to challenge.
Yeah, because I can imagine what's going through his mind. He's walking through the produce section with a suitcase carrying behind him, and he's probably thinking, "Wow, this is super fucking weird that I'm carrying a suitcase through the produce section at Walmart. I need to make a scene about it, right?"
Mhm.
So he starts yelling at me about the suitcase. I look up, and I didn't think the suitcase thing was that weird because it's Walmart. So I've seen pretty weird stuff at Walmart. But what I thought was weird is why he was yelling at me. And it kind of started to scare me. I think I peed a little bit. And next thing I know, he's telling me he wants to take it outside. He'll beat my ass, all these other really mean things. And I just turn the cart, start walking the other way, and don't look back because I know if I look back, I'm going to instigate him, right? He's like, I can't acknowledge what is going on right now. So I just kept walking. Luckily, I survived that day. But
Miles, I think he just wanted a friend.
He was like, maybe if he is still my friend after this incident, we'll be best friends.
Yeah.
He was looking for a best friend.
It was like a test, pretty much.
Because if he was like, you think it's weird that I'm carrying a suitcase around, and you go, fuck no, dude, let's hang out, and he would have been like, yes, let's go. I came and I got what I wanted, and now we're gonna show you a picture of this latex guy. Yep. Yep.
Do you think he got the latex suit at Walmart and changed into it?
Yeah, he definitely did.
So this guy looks like he's got blue latex on, about knee-high boots, a Mickey hat, and the Mickey hat has rainbows on each side. And then it looks like he's wearing like a utility belt, or is that a skirt?
I don't know.
He looks like it looks like if Batman had a latex fetish.
Yeah.
And then he likes his women
She was a pretty old. She was like
50s. I'm
yeah.
gonna guess.
She looked pretty old. She had like very many wrinkles.
Yeah,
on her
what if
face.
this guy is like in his 60s? Like this old
Yeah.
dude is just like kinked out. Also, we shouldn't kink shame. Not cool of
Yeah,
us. Not cool of us. Dude, we're just going to call him George. George, do your thing, dude. We'll
Yeah.
see it. We'll see you at Walmart. And if you're brave enough to graduate to Target, call me and we'll
Yeah.
get you on the
I mean,
podcast.
he walked right past me, and the person walked very like close to me, and I was like, looked over, and I was like, dude.
Did you get titillated?
Did I get what?
Titillated.
You know, titillated.
Yes, I
Titillated.
got titillated.
Also,
I mean, it's okay.
Also, like, I would have asked for a selfie.
That's what I was thinking, but I felt like the picture would suffice because I think he was looking for attention. I don't want to like encourage that, you know.
Why not?
I don't know.
The thing is, nobody else does that, and so people just see it as weird.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's
It's like
weird.
it's like if someone came in and was wearing a hot dog costume, you probably would have reacted the same way. You thought, "Why the hell is that guy in Walmart with a hot dog
See,
costume
that's
on?"
pretty funny. This was more like alarming.
I don't know. It sounds like a good time to me.
Yeah, honestly.
And it also, like, in the middle of Florida, sounds really sweaty under there.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
imagine the amount of stank after, like, one Walmart trip. After this guy has got to be sweating puddles in those
It's
boots,
hot in there, man.
dude.
maybe that's a part of the fetish, you know?
Yeah.
Or he's just looking to lose a little bit of water weight. He's trying to cut down for a fight. He's got a fight that he's trying to make weight, and he's like, got to put on the latex suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for you, man, George. We salute you, and if you're listening, we'd like to invite you on the podcast to discuss your fetish because I think it's super cool and super interesting.
George is your number one fan. How would
George,
you feel?
give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Really appreciate it.
Good.
I'm scared.
Yeah, we're gonna have a stalker now.
Yeah.
He's like, my name's not George, it's Frank. You bitch. So going back to your first job, what is do you have to deal with like customers and stuff?
Yes.
And how is going from a teenager who doesn't have to deal with, you know, or hold any kind of accountability to the standards of a company when dealing with customers to all of a sudden having this responsibility of not only are you dealing with Florida people, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to my Florida people. Y'all are kind of crazy.
Pretty crazy.
But also just like not Walmart, your big blue box store,
Yeah.
Target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say since I'm in very sunny Southwest Florida, it's a lot of old people.
Yeah.
I'd say there's for who I deal with. I work in electronics, right? And so it's a lot of older people that have questions or are involved in phishing scams. I'd say at least once a week I have someone come up to me and be like, "Is this real?" And it's like a text from Suncoast, but it's like it's very obviously fake. And they'll be like, "Should I like tell them or respond or like should I like do this?" I'm like, "No, why?"
Wait, people are coming up to you in the electronics section asking for advice on their emails?
Yeah.
What?
Wait, is that something that you guys service or like?
We're more okay. So I'd say I break it down into a couple things. I'm like a regular associate. Right? I do things that regular people do. So I like stock and do all that in like this department. I help with a customer. Like if a customer has a question, I can help them with that. I mean, I moved to electronics because I was doing some like online pickup stuff before like that, but I wasn't a big fan of it. I was paying more, but I wasn't a big fan. So I decided I want to switch over here because I have a passion for electronics. And so I was like, oh.
Plus, you wanted that sweet first dibs on the PS5s.
Yep.
Well, I just want to say how nice it must be, hashtag privilege, that you were making so much money that you just were like, I didn't care. It was less pay, but you know, I just wanted to do it.
$1. And then I got a raise as soon as I moved to the other one. It was like, so now it's like $50 difference, and I'm like 10 times happier because I'm not like in the beating sun in like Florida, and so.
Okay, so you did it for your happiness. I
Yeah,
understand.
it wasn't just for like, oh, I don't feel like doing this. It was because I was like unhappy working there.
Yeah, PS5. Okay.
And the PS5, yeah. So, but I'd say about one half, maybe a little bit more of what I do is helping people like with questions they have or things like surrounding electronics or unlocking things from like, how you go to like the places and they got stuff in cages and stuff, unlocking things like that.
Yeah. Is it usually like the little kids? I'm trying to get my stuff. My stuff.
That's funny you say that because the only times that I'll ever have little kids come up to me is when their parents don't speak English, and so they need to like translate for me, and it's usually just like Nintendo Switch game or something like that.
Yeah.
Or in the
So
other chance, like Grand Theft Auto 5, and the parents have no idea what they're getting into, and it's like a 10-year-old, and I'm like, I can't do this. It just feels like unethical. Maybe if they were like older, because like you're supposed to check and see if they're 17, but like obviously if it's like the parent doesn't know what this is, like not just with like Grand Theft Auto, they're just like mature games in general, because I played a lot of those games. Obviously, I know what they look like. So if like a 10-year-old, very impressionable, is coming to buy this and their parents don't know what it is because they don't speak English, they can't read anything that's on the box, right? I'm not gonna sell it to them. So that's always really uncomfortable because I have to explain to them why I can't give them this game.
And how do the parents take it?
They don't speak English, so they don't really take anything. I'll be like, I'll just make some weird excuse.
You'll just say,
"Oh, yeah, this one doesn't have a disc in it or something."
Just learn enough Spanish to get you to like explain to them.
Yeah,
right.
It just feels like, because I know that if I now as I'm growing up, I know that there's a reason why they put like age restrictions on things. Because when you're growing up, you're very your mind can be like you're surrounded by things, and that's what kind of develops you as a person. Like people you're surrounded by, media, things like that. So giving that to a child, that's not going to be very good for their health.
Yeah, that's why I was held back in school, because I just hang out with Miles all the time.
Yeah,
just no child should watch Euphoria.
Yeah, no child.
Wait, is that that's the show on HBO?
Mm-hmm.
And that's they glorify like drugs and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if it's glorifying. I would say it's more like spreading awareness. But obviously, like most high schools aren't like how they are in Euphoria, and so
I think probably high schoolers. Chase, do you remember a couple of podcasts ago you mentioned that when Jackass came out, when you were in whatever it was, middle school, high school, it kind of influenced you to do some stupid shit.
Yeah, and also The Hangover. The Hangover came out.
Yeah,
and I was like, I got to get some alcohol. That looks like a good time.
Yeah, exactly. So
paraphrasing, but
with this show, as adults, we look at some of that stuff as it's stupid or kind of silly, or we recognize the irony and the drug use and whatnot. But I think as a teenager, they may find it a little cool. They see the partying, they may want to mimic that. And also, season 2 has so many penises in it, just so many.
Oh, I'm watching. I'm now. I got that's on my queue now.
Full disclosure,
it's
most of it. So
it's turned into Game of Thrones, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like the same show.
Show was good.
Yeah.
That's why that show was good. Okay, it's all the penis.
Yeah.
Okay, the level of penis is on the same trajectory of how good it gets.
Hey Chase,
they throw another. Yep,
this is why you don't get sponsors.
I'm not looking for sponsors because all I need is Mountain Dew to throw me a couple of bucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, our settlement money's still coming in. We're good without sponsors.
Show till sponsors kicked in. Okay.
Yeah.
Listen. I totally get what you're saying though about Euphoria, because and also just it's an interesting, because I watch and I have a guilty pleasure, which is Riverdale. You know that show?
Oh, I hate you.
You don't hate me. You love me because
I love you, but I hate the show.
All right, yeah, the show is it's bad, but it's like bad in a good way. You know, like that guilty shit that you should hate, but
Yeah.
you're like, I can't stop watching this shit because it's just good background TV. And the thing that they do very well in those shows is they put these kids in high school basically in adult situations. So it makes you feel I can totally relate to like a kid who watches this and is like basically romanticizing or fantasizing about situations that these kids are in because they, you know, you when you're kind of like your age or you know even younger, you have this like desire to do things that maybe you're not allowed to do, or like you want to grow up so fast, and that it's like I said, very kind of romantic in that kind of way of thinking. And so, and until you actually do grow up and you're like, oh fuck, what was I looking forward to?
Yeah.
This is all a lie.
That's so true.
So like, so I understand what makes those shows so addicting, and also just like they live out these different scenarios that maybe you wish you did in during those days. If you're an older audience member watching, you know, like these kids are operating in a legal casino speakeasy and they're like 16, 17. Like, what the fuck? And like, it's totally true, like about what like the euphoria thing is. Like, as adults, we're seeing like high level themes and concepts that like we totally can grasp and digest. But for younger kids who are watching it mostly for just the penises, like that goes either like right over their head, or they're so like entranced in this fantasy that they are totally unintentionally ignoring maybe the messaging. And I think one of the what's the main actress name? Do you know?
Zendaya.
Is it Zendaya?
Zendaya, yeah.
Zendaya. Okay, I think somebody asked her like that question, like, how do you feel about young girls watching this show, and how do you feel about maybe the impression that it could make on them? And she goes, well, I didn't make the show for these young kids.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a show for young kids. It's on HBO. People forget, like, HBO is trying to be this like streaming platform for all, but when HBO came out, it was like the things and the shows that regular network television couldn't show. It was like the opportunity to make, it was like total creative freedom for filmmakers and television industry people to make the shows that they wanted to without having the filter put on because of the regulations of network television.
Well, that's a really interesting point you just made. Because we don't see any of that in the streaming, and streaming has kind of replaced network television. Not totally. A lot of people still have cable. A lot of people are still watching shows on network television, and they still have those regulations. They can't have nudity. They can't have certain cursing. I think, you know, at certain times of the day, stuff like that. But you could almost argue that with the how easy it is to sign up for a Netflix subscription, or HBO subscription, you know, whatever it is, you're watching on any TV. Any TV is a smart TV nowadays. You can easily stream on it. It's literally like you're watching cable, and you can access it at all times of the days. But there's no regulations around that. What kind of stuff they put on Netflix or HBO?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And they would also just have HBO stands for Home Box Office. So basically, it was just showing unedited movies because they didn't have to subscribe or edit the movies. You know, you always used to watch like TBS or AMC or all these other movie channels that would just show like these rerun movies of like 5 years ago, and they would say in the beginning of, and maybe they still do this, edited for television. And that was like the big statement at the front. And you knew that if you're watching a movie, maybe it was like Step Brothers or it was like a raunchier movie, that like you were getting this like I was going to say whitewash, but you're getting this like washed out edition of the movie without any like the curse word. And some of the when they try when you know they're cursing and they say like, "Gosh darn it," and they was really saying "damn it" or "fuck" or whatever. It just made it just kind of ruins the movie for me. Like it just totally strips the I guess the soul. I mean, I'm not saying like that's like it's for movies to have soul, it's you have to have cursing and nudity and stuff, but movies are written, every scene is looked at 1,000 times before it's shot. And so every single little thing is so intentional, and to like strip that and edit it out, it's kind of like a little bit of a fuckery. And I can imagine like being a filmmaker or somebody who participated in making this like, creation, you gotta have to be a little ticked off that like it's being like edited. And who's editing it? Is it the distribution? Like, is it the network? Is it the distribution that's going, hey, we're providing you with, maybe Cole would be a good person to ask this, but like, are they providing, the movie company or the distribution company providing the networks with like a stripped down version of the movie, or is it the networks actually taking it and editing it themselves?
Yeah. So I think what you said about the HBO, where it was Zendaya said, "Oh yeah, it's not made for kids."
Mm-hmm.
And I made it. It's on HBO. I think that people sometimes forget that, when shows are like that, it's not like their responsibility. It's not her responsibility to keep it away from children, right? That's like more of like a parent's responsibility. I mean, I'm not saying you should be like a helicopter parent. You should constantly monitor everything your kids are doing, but like, as a parent, you should, if you're worried about that kind of things, like I've seen parents on like Reddit, for example, get all upset about, oh, my child watched 13 Reasons Why, or oh, my child watched this. There's like controversial TV shows that, in the past couple of years. I think they forget that it's kind of their responsibility to monitor what their children watches, because again, like those TV shows do have warnings. Like, I mean, Euphoria and like 13 Reasons Why are both TVMA, right? So you can set parental restrictions on like even TV. Like I know in like Xfinity boxes like we used to have, you used to be able to set whatever you want. Like you can watch this channel this time. I mean, you can still do that on Netflix. You can do it on HBO. I mean, there's kids accounts. If you don't want your child watching that's up to you, right? Don't give them the password. You can't blame a film company or directors for making something that's like raunchy because, oh, my kids can't watch it, even though that's not what it's made for, right? Or like when people got upset about the new Batman movie, like I saw some people who were like, oh, I can't take my like children to go see this because it's too dark. And it's like, well, it's a Batman movie.
Yeah.
And like the movie, it has a darker theme, and you can tell that from like the thumbnails that they put out, like all these different things, even like trailers, you can tell it's like it's not a traditional Batman movie. And I think that people forget that it's not up to networks or distributors or directors to be like, oh, we can't make this because kids can't watch it.
When was the last Batman movie where kids could actually go watch that? Was it Batman Begins?
Batman vs Superman was pretty toned down, I think. All right, Miles and I saw that. I was like 10. He came down from college.
Oh yeah,
That's a good point.
To come visit for my birthday, I think.
Didn't they show?
such an awesome brother.
I don't know, maybe. What'd you say?
Such an awesome brother to do that.
It's amazing, brother. You never did that.
No. I hated Batman versus Superman. Yeah, I think you gotta imagine it's a lot harder to control. Control is like the lack of a better word, but to monitor what your kids are watching, it's just the ease of access to all this content is so it's so easy that like I gotta imagine. I can't speak from experience because I don't have any kids, but it's got to be harder than it was,
Yeah, it's
day.
definitely, especially when cable was really the only thing that you had, even before HBO was a thing, and your entertainment came from either going to the movie theater, where it's much easier for them to regulate, not letting children in unless they're with a parent or whatever, or you're watching on TV where there isn't those themes, or it's late at night where 90% of kids are already asleep anyway. But I think it's definitely harder, and it's still it's still a fine line to tell an actor or even a director or whomever, a writer, should you make this show or movie or whatever because kids can potentially access it? Should Joe Rogan have certain guests on that are controversial because they may say things that other people don't agree with? Should Donald Trump be able to have a Twitter account? There's a degree at which we censor things based on the damage that they have to society, but there's a point where you can't just stop everything. Like they're not going to stop making movies with sex, drugs, and murder in them.
Yeah, and there's everybody's like level of where the draw the line in the sand is different. Like my upbringing was a lot different in terms of what we're talking about as as you.
Definitely.
I remember watching movies and it was like somebody would kiss and our mom would be like, "Cover your eyes."
She still does that. It's been like 20 years.
Yeah. And it's like, and the point I think that Miles is making, I think is a part of a much larger discussion, which is like who is the most righteous, or who is right into where we draw that line, right? Yeah. Is it voted based on democracy, right? Like who's going to decide what is harmful and what is not? And I think right now, like we can all agree that like social media companies are probably one of the more bigger, we call, and this is a coin that Joe Natalie from episode 28, Big Daddy America. So we call Big Daddy Tech. People like Google, people like Facebook, or Meta as they're called. They get to decide basically what the world sees. Facebook it was like somebody said Facebook has more users than there are Christians. Did you know that? It's like 3 billion or something users. Actually, I'm gonna fact check that real quick.
That's
how many? Yeah. How many? I think that's correct, because I think there's less than 1 billion Christians in the world.
How many Facebook users?
See, what about that? Where you say like, how many? How many of those are just like fake, like dupe accounts that people have made?
How many of those are Russian accounts? Yeah, fake Russian accounts?
Pesky Russians. Just making so many duplicate accounts.
I know growing up that I like when I want to make a Facebook account until like recently I had to make one for my Oculus, right? Mm-hmm. I had like John Smith, and I would just like use it and I forget the password, something because like access certain live streams or something that was like exclusive to Facebook. You had a Facebook account, something like that.
Yeah,
and I'd make a fake one.
2.895 billion monthly active users. So that's not just like, Joe Schmo who has set his Facebook and then set it and forgot it, like a rotisserie chicken.
Oh, active users?
Monthly active users. So I'm guessing monthly active users is defined by somebody who at least uses it once a month, right? Or more.
Yeah.
2.895 billion.
I wonder how many accounts have been made.
Right. In the last, what says daily active users currently stands at 1.9 billion users. So 1.9 billion users use Facebook every single day.
Are we talking about Facebook, or are we talking about like, because you can log in with your Facebook?
We're talking about Facebook, homie.
Because you can log in with like your Instagram account, or is it just Facebook?
I'm talking about just using it.
Damn, that's sad.
It's a lot. That is, we got what, 7? How many people are in?
Like 7.8 billion.
7.8. We're talking like what's the ratio on that? Like 1 to 7, like
I don't know, 3 to 7, or what?
Percentage wise, that's what, like 20%? No.
I kind of wonder if that includes just having it downloaded on your phone, because you're getting push notifications.
I guess, but there's also like, I wonder if it's this is just says Facebook, and then you have WhatsApp, You have Instagram.
Yeah, that's true.
And what's the other one? Oculus.
Yeah.
By the way, how good's the porn on that thing?
I haven't tried.
No comment.
Ha ha ha! I don't know.
I wonder if actually my friend said it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, all three of those combined, you got to think. Of course, there's some overlap there, but if they decide that they don't want to show you this, that, and the other, that has such an immense global impact on what we see and what we hear. I think we can all agree that when you look, I know for me at least, I wake up in the morning, I not log on. It's such an old term. Like, oh, I logged on to Reddit. It's like, no, you opened up the app, it's already logged in, the asshole. So I opened up Reddit, I look at the news app, and what I see, I'm digesting it. It's like the first thing that I'm thinking about, is like what I see in my feed. And it's undeniable that it has a tremendous impact on not just like what I'm thinking about that day, but moving forward of what I'm talking about or what I'm thinking about for the rest of the week or how I'm feeling. If I see something like war in Ukraine, maybe I'm down and then I start forming an opinion based on the opinions of, the articles and things that I'm reading. And it's like, and Reddit's a good example too, because they have tremendous amount of users and also just impact on what they're showing, and what people are seeing on the platform. And just that one little thing, that one switch that they can turn can totally impact, for in Facebook's instance, 1.9 billion people in that very same day. And that's kind of scary, because the people who are, and this is such a stupid, over talked concept that people are just talking about all the time. So I just want to talk about it in that lens that, hey, we're just like recycling what everybody else is saying. But it's true, and I think we all should talk about it more, because without discourse and talking and airing the things that we find are problematic in our society, nothing's going to change, right? It's like that toxic company culture mentality that if you work for somebody and you identify something that you find very problematic or troublesome and you don't talk about it out of fear of retaliation, it's never going to change. That problem's just going to persist until somebody is going to have the courage or the bravery to stand up and actually say something. And that's, I find pretty healthy, because it also just adds a layer of transparency. And in the context of this conversation, unless we draw awareness to it and continue to talk about it, nothing's going to change, right?
Yeah, I mean, this honestly just sounds like the entire country of Russia.
Are you saying that tongue in cheek, or are you actually?
No, it's tongue in cheek. I mean, but that's the point. Is I think people there don't feel like they can change anything, regardless of how they feel about the current situation in their country, whether they've given into the propaganda in their country and they think that Russia's doing a good thing by committing genocide in Ukraine, or if they've been exposed to the outside world, outside of Russia, seen the news outside of Russia, seen what Russia's actually, their government is actually doing. You either protest and potentially go to prison for 15 years, or you do nothing about it. You ruin your life and potentially make no change, probably not change anything.
Yeah.
Or you do nothing. And I think that's how people feel there, that they can't change anything.
What are you passionate about, Ethan?
I'm pretty passionate about music. And like computers.
Computers and music?
Computers.
And I don't know what is that?
What?
Computers.
Computers?
I'm just kidding.
Well, you mean like what specific?
What fascinates you the most about computers and music?
Well, about computers, I don't know. I just like everything about them.
Mm.
I think that what it takes to like run a computer, I think that's super interesting. Like the parts, I think, the software that it takes and the people who have to write that, I think that's really cool. And then like what Logan does.
Oh, the people who have to write that's cool.
Like you. and,
Oh.
and how like and then another thing that really interests me is like cybersecurity and like what Logan does with a lot of his work that he's told me about really interests me.
Yeah.
And then with music, I don't know, I enjoy like the composition of it. It interests me.
You take music theory?
No, I do not.
Why not?
My school doesn't offer it.
Really?
Yeah, they were going to my freshman year, and then they were like, "Oops, not enough people," and then they were going to do it sophomore year, and they were like, "Oops, not enough people," and then they were going to do it last year, and they had plenty of people. They were like, "Oh, we don't have a teacher."
Your band, like the marching band, is literally the size is like bigger than a lot of the schools out in the mountains. And y'all can't get enough kids to sign up for that?
Well, AP Music Theory is the class.
Yeah.
AP Music Theory has like one of the hardest, just because it's.
So they do have that.
No,
No.
they don't have it. That's what we're trying to get. AP Music Theory is really hard, and I think a lot of people don't want to take it, is because a lot of it isn't necessarily something that you can learn. A lot of people feel like a lot of it is like talent based, because I mean you'll have people who are really good with music and things like that, who are like, for example, who are really good in band, but like part of AP Music Theory is like oral skills and like listening to music and be able to like, or reading music and be able to like sing it back, and some people just can't do that. People don't have the talent to like recognize pitches in their head. It's relative pitch,
Like sight reading.
yeah, it's kind of like that. And I mean, we have some really talented musicians in our band that, you know, if you put that in front of them, they would be like, I don't know what to do with, because some of that I feel, although you could learn it, like kids in choir, you know, learn how to sing, but that takes years, right? You can't learn that in a year. In my
It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad that they don't offer
Yeah.
the chorus in a different style where it's actually people who are passionate about
Yeah.
music.
I would
I
definitely.
mean, I don't even know what music theory
Yeah,
means.
it's like, what's like the easiest way to describe it? It's kind of like what makes up a composition of music. Like when you hear a pop song on the radio, for example, you have like a chord progression, and like a lot of them are very similar. Like you have like the pop chord progression. I forgot what it is. It's like 1 5 6 3 or something. I don't know.
What does that mean?
Like the roots of so you have like a scale, like a major scale, minor scale, right? And so you have the root of the scale or the base of the scale. So it's like the first note. So like for like the B flat consonant scale, the first note's 1, and so the chords that are centered around that would be the first chord of the scale. So in a chord progression, you would say, oh, if this chord is like B flat major, right? That's the first chord of the scale, or the first chord of the key that you're in. And so let's say the note is the chord that they're playing is like C major, then that's the third of the scale. So that's the like it'd be like 1 3. So if it was like B flat major and then C flat major, it's 1 and 3. So it is confusing, right? It's hard to explain.
Music theory.
Yeah. So there's so much that goes into it, and you'd be surprised. A lot of music now is like kind of piggyback, I would say. I mean, a lot of art. Okay, so for example, Olivia Rodrigo, right? We were talking about this in the car earlier with Paramore's "Misery Business." Mm-hmm. It is essentially the same song, right? It has very similar melody, very like the chord progression is exactly the same. The chorus is the same. The bridges are all the same. Everything, like the main verses. Everything is essentially the same, right? It sounds so similar, and so you like, but the issue with that is like music will get used up at a certain amount of time. Like there is like a finite amount of songs that you can make that are unique to each other, right? Because there's only so many chord progressions that you can have that will sound pleasing to the ear, right? Mm-hmm. Like those chord progressions happen to sound really pleasing to people, and they like those chords, or they like how the song sounds, and so a lot of other songs will like sound the same. Like another example is, I don't know if you heard about Dua Lipa's Levitating. Mm-hmm. There's a band or like a reggae band that's claiming that they made the song first, which they didn't. I mean, there's no trace of that song on the internet, before Levitating came out, and the only where like they had never released any physical copies or anything. The only place it is on SoundCloud, and it's an edited audio file. And so they're claiming that Levitating used the same chord progression and its chorus sounds like similar, but then at the same time it's like, okay, you can't copyright a chord, you can't copyright a melody, right? Like Hot Cross Buns, like it's instrumental, like Hot Cross Buns is Hot Cross Buns, right? Or Dies Irae, like you know what that is.
Mm-mm.
So it's like a defense cheer used. It's like a chant from old like Gregorian song and like used in churches, and it's used on like most high schools defense cheers. And so it's like, oh, you're gonna sue all those high schools, or because and a lot of modern songs use it, and it's like, oh well, this you can't. There's not like someone who used it first. It's just like it was made popular because this song used it, so now it's called the Dies Irae, right? So there's just a finite amount of music, so it's you can't copyright, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I had this conversation with Russell once, and maybe it was on the podcast where we had talked about the idea of somebody just writing an algorithm that would just spit out an insane amount of unlimited amount of like songs, and then copyright them.
Yeah.
So that if somebody were to write a song without hearing it and it just matched kind of, that they could sue for money. And I think he was telling me that he kind of looked into that and that they're working on legislation to basically combat that.
Yeah.
Because, I want to be charitable and say, obviously the Olivia Rodrigo song is a complete ripoff.
Yeah.
Nobody can stand up and have a solid argument.
it.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And to acknowledge that everything is a remix, which if anybody hasn't already seen, there's a great I think it's like a 15-minute short and then 3 parts. It's called Everything is a Remix. And it's basically just like back in the days of like early YouTube, there was a guy that did a whole pretty much like a TED Talk or with great visuals of explaining on the history of like remix and how basically everything in pop culture is unoriginal, like in modern day like music, television, film, like writing, yeah. Like basically, like he gives examples about like Star Wars, how that's a ripoff of the hero's journey, which is basically like a story structure introduced in like I think one of the Greek mythologies or whatever. And then like you have Stairway to Heaven, which is a blatant ripoff of another song written in like the 20s, and it's like so he goes and provides all these examples of how there's very few, and he cites examples about box office statistics. Like he took like all the highest grossing movies and kind of traced them back to origins of inspiration, and how they basically made a point of saying like these are not original. They may be slightly different, but the root and soul of the story came already before it, and how that's okay. Like it's fine that we don't have to basically be original all the time, or else we'd soon run out of ideas. And that and I think it was either Einstein, or maybe this is often misquoted from him. Maybe it was like Thomas Edison, and the quote is the genius, the true genius of an invention isn't the invention itself. It's covering up the tracks of how you got, or the hardest part of making art. This is it. I just butchered that whole thing. The hardest part of making art isn't actually making art. It's covering up where you stole the idea from. And it's so true because, and it's become harder and harder with the globalization of modern society, where everything you can just look up super quickly. People talk about like back in the day, con artists and liars could get away with so much because you didn't have like instant access to information in your pocket. Like you could just say like, oh yeah, Thomas Jefferson said this once, and people were like, totally, yeah. And if you said it in a convincing way, like you could totally get away with saying pretty much anything you wanted because nobody was sitting there going, actually, Google says that's fucking bullshit. And so
Why you Googling?
Yeah, why you Googling? But that's okay. That's okay. But being honest and upfront about where you're drawing your inspiration from is also a great way of and should be a part of actually publishing your work, because it often gives credit to people who've done a lot of the legwork for you, and it you know makes people feel appreciated and also just builds a community around what you're doing.
Yeah.
So, sorry, that was a long rant.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it makes sense. I think that's the world is great because, or there's great things in the world because we got to use the work that other people did. There was a movie on Netflix recently with Ryan Reynolds and the Adam Project, I think it's called.
Please
And
don't spoil it for me. God damn it! I need to watch this movie.
I won't spoil it. It's a funny movie. You should watch it. But there's a part in there where the dad in the movie says something. He's a physicist, and he says something that I thought was kind of cool. He said that I think he was teaching a class, and he told his students if you get into physics and you work in that field and you do research, you're not going to be the inventor. You're going to be someone that contributed to the invention or contributed to the theory or whatever it is that somebody discovers one day, like time travel, right? That's the theme in that movie, time travel. You're not going to be the person that invents time travel, but you'll be contributing to that because we won't figure that out for, hundreds of years. And I think that has parallels here because I can make a song, take a photo, create a tool for someone to use, and someone can just make it a little bit better than that. And that's, I think, is a great thing to be able to do something like that. I mean, imagine if I made a device that helped you in your everyday and someone was like, if you change it a little bit and make it like this, it would be so much more efficient. And I was like, no, you can't do that because I made it first, It'd be so shitty.
Or imagine if, like, in your instance, like with your Instagram that you do with Sarah, where you're taking photos of like really cool mountainscapes. Imagine if there was a guy that constantly was like, "There's already a photo on Google of that mountain." It's like, oh fuck off.
There are people like that.
Yeah, of course there will be, and they're terrible.
Right. Well, I think that's kind of the point Ethan was making with the scales and blah 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 music theory stuff. If someone goes and takes a picture of this mountain, and I take the same picture, the same settings, am I copying their work? Right? Did I just copy them and I put it on Instagram or Facebook or whatever I did with it? Did I copy them? What if I didn't even know it existed? The same with someone who made a song. If they made that song and then they put it in the lyrics that they want it to be, or in the voice, in their own voice, because they think that maybe a man originally sung it and a woman wants to sing it and it's just a different tone. Is that copying them, or are you just contributing to that art?
I would say for like photography, you can't really. I don't think you can copy somebody's photography. I guess you could like if someone was like, "Oh, there's this legendary pose," or you can only achieve by doing this, this, and this, and you like took the exact same identical photo, and you knew that it was like this, and then you marketed it as like, "Oh, it's this guy's photo, but it's actually yours, and you're getting the profit." That's different. But if you just take a photo and someone's already taken it, right? How can you prove that, I knew this photo existed, I knew exactly how to do this? I mean, every photo is going to be different in some way.
Tebow, when everybody was doing the Tebow pose, was like, God damn it, that's mine. No, it's true. And going back to the music theory, I do hope, and it's sad, I don't know if it has anything to attribute to like the slow decline of like arts and schools. Mm-hmm. But I get it. Like, it's hard. It really is, because and it's not up to like the school that you go to set the standard. If it's an AP class, I think it's like an AP board that sets the standard, and they will. Everybody, no matter where you go to, will have to take the same test, right?
Yeah.
So maybe there's a fundamental change that has to happen at the board level to make it more accessible for. Because I remember going to school, it's like 10 years ago. No, it was longer than that now. Yeah. And we had music theory classes, and or AP music theory classes, and there was plenty of people taking it.
Yeah.
So it's just weird to me to hear that, out of all the kids how many kids are in your class right now?
You said something about it's like sad to see how like music and art and stuff is like fading in schools. It is kind of sad because my freshman year, which was the year that we went through everything and school shut down, we had close to 400 people in our band, which was like one of the biggest bands in the state of Florida. The biggest band in the county by far, and it was like the year after that, it was small. It was a lot smaller because half these people. My county in particular had like 3 options. You could either go full time online, and you had to like attend your classes, just as like, and you had teachers that would do that, and so they teach a live class, like in person, and then have an online class, and you could have like an asynchronous class, which is you didn't actually have to attend the class, but you could if you wanted to. And so the teacher would post all the work, and you do it in like the lecture. And then you had what I chose, which is just going in person, because you're not going to get an actual good education. One of the things you need to learn and pass these tests if you're doing it online. And I'm sure people were fine doing that, and I probably would have been fine too. But there's like this like interaction barrier, which I noticed, where it was kind of like in March when we had transitioned to online, or more into April. Of 2020, they're all like, you just don't have those people around you, right? And it sucks because you feel so isolated. And I feel like people who went through that, the year after that, completely online and didn't have that spec of like going into class, seeing your friends, or just seeing people and having people around you and getting a traditional education, that sucks, right? And so, yeah. So that was that. And then, so basically, the band cut, and then the band cut again this year. And so I think it's the smallest it's ever been, which really does suck. But in some ways, it's better because we only have 2 band directors. And so it's hard for those 2 band directors to manage 400 people. Including a flag line and dance line. We've always had like a flag and dance instructor. But, even that's still difficult to deal with. And so it's smaller. It's easier to, we went to a competition for the first time. My band has never done that. All of it's been open. You guys were in high school. They never did competitions. And we got first, and it was great. But it sucks because you have all these kids that were in band that just quit because either they were online, it just didn't interest them because the school and the county cut all of the programs that we were doing, like all marching band, gone, right? We had like 1 or 2 games. They weren't allowed to wear uniforms. We had to do this. We had to wear belt covers, and belt covers don't even work. It just makes it sound bad. And
What's a belt cover?
So I play tuba, right, in marching band. I play sousaphone in marching band. It's like a tuba that goes around your body, and
it's a tuba. What?
It's a tuba that goes around your body. Sorry, and belt cover. It's like pretty much like a piece of pantyhose, and they like put it around the thing. It literally does nothing. Right? For like saxophones and flutes, they put it on the bell. But
so like the moisture wouldn't pop out?
But here's the thing.
Oh my God.
But with like saxophones, for example, the only time that you'll ever have sound actually coming out or anything coming out of that hole at the end is when you play the lowest note on the instrument, because there's holes, and that's what happens. Like the most easiest thing to relate to is a recorder, right? The more fingers you press down on the holes, the lower the note gets, right? So the same thing with like a saxophone. So the moisture in the air is actually coming out of all these keypads, right? And you can't cover those because otherwise the instrument works. So the bell covers are actually just useless. But for brass instruments where there's only one exit, it just muffled the sound and made it sound bad. And so a lot of people just quit. And that really sucks because a lot of these people maybe had a passion for music but just felt like they couldn't do it anymore because it wasn't worth their time. It was stressful to keep all these things that they're balancing in their life and then have this on top of it. And I can't understand that because even now, working a job doing pretty much full time out of college, it's hard to balance that because it is a lot of work, and especially I'm in the top band, and so it's hard to balance everything on top of that sometimes, and you can get pretty caught moving far behind in your work and just a lot of different things.
Well, I gotta say, you went to school in Florida, so you were closed for like 2 days.
Yeah,
No,
pretty
I'm
much.
just kidding.
No, we
Do you still have kids? Do you think there's still a lot of kids that are doing the online thing?
So I just talked about the three options. There was a fourth option. It was you could go to this thing. It was like pretty much an online school. Like you weren't at your high school. It was like a new thing. They took the crappiest teachers in the county and were like, here, you guys can teach online. So I assume there's kids still doing that. I know that there were kids that moved to Florida virtual school, which is always an option, and a lot of people just take classes on there anyway because it's easier to do it in a classroom, especially if like we have to have like a HOPE requirement, which is like the physical education or like Gov and Econ to graduate. A lot of people take it on there, and it's fine education. They're real teachers, and there definitely are still people who are doing the online education because, they have grandparents at home or people who are at risk, and they're they're afraid, or their parents just won't let them. I mean, I know somebody who transitioned to fully online and never came back. I mean, it sucks, I guess.
I took a couple of online classes in college, and I'm not saying that this is what an online teaching or learning experience would be like. Maybe it was just the classes that I happened to take online, but they were the classes that I learned the least amount. I did fine in them. I think I got A's in each one of them. They were usually pretty easy, but I tell you, I probably don't really even remember taking them.
So
Um,
I dual enroll at the college that's next to us, and FSW, and so they didn't offer the math class that I needed, pre-calc and trig, and so I had to take it online, and I am not learning anything, right? Like there's lecture videos for some things, but like I have to teach myself. There's no textbook. They won't give me a textbook in hand. It's like $200. It's like all virtual.
So the textbook is online?
Yeah, but it's like horrible, and it's like supposed to be like interactive. And do you guys use MyLab Plus? I assume in college.
What is it called?
MyLab Plus.
MyLab Plus. Miles, does that sound familiar?
Do you guys ever use
MATLAB or MyLab?
MyLab
MY?
or MATLAB? I don't know if it's the same thing.
MATLAB?
It came with a textbook. It was like an online thing for math, and I mean,
I didn't take math. I was an art student.
Yeah, but when I, for example, when I go into like calculus or anything that's going to involve these like things, I mean, there's a lot of pre-calc isn't even calculus, but when I go to do further advanced math, well, I've already passed that. But when I go to do more things, right, I'm gonna have an issue because I didn't learn anything, right? None of the information is gonna stick. A lot of this stuff is like fundamental, there's a reason why they make you take the class, right? To move on, because a lot of this is stuff that you need to know before you move on to the next level. Just like you need to have algebra to do algebra 2, and need to have that to, And so I'm not learning anything. I can try my hardest to learn, but in reality, it's an online class, and there's no reason why they can't offer it in person. I mean,
do you think that there's a level, or I guess a lack of accountability to not motivate, but to make sure that kids are on track? Like, is it easier to just, for lack of better words, screw off with an online class than it is in an in-person class? Because like an exam is an exam, right? And if you don't pass it, you don't pass it. So at the end of the day, like if you ace the test, you at least know you're proving to the teacher that you learned something.
But I think personally, I think tests are really stupid, especially like cumulative tests, because you're memorizing the stuff that you need to know for the test. You're not memorizing what you actually need to know, right?
That's a good point.
So especially with like, for example, AP tests. AP teachers will teach you what you need to know for the test, and that's it, right? Other stuff in the class, like I took world history, AP world history. I learned what the AP world history exam was going to ask me just so I could pass the exam. I wasn't learning AP world history. I wasn't learning like all about I was, but like it was very specific things. It was like, oh, make sure you remember this because this is going to be on the test, right?
Remind me, does the teacher get like an assessment or like some kind of grading based on how many of his or her students
They get money.
They do?
Yeah. So, for example, my class had like a 92% pass rate, and so the teacher gets like a $2,000 bonus or whatever. I don't know how much it is.
So it's incentive based
Yes.
learning.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, that just kind of fucked things up, right? Because now the teacher can just focus on giving you the right answers to the tests, so they can get paid at the end.
As far as I'm aware that that's what happens, I'm not like 100% sure. If like I'm not like
we're speculating.
Yeah, we're
maybe,
speculating
a little bit.
But I know that does happen with other tests because I've talked to our sister-in-law Lindsay. She talks about how like certain districts will get more money funding depending how they do in like their FSAs or FCATs or I don't know.
It's true. I've heard the
Yeah.
same argument or the same statement here in for Colorado schools.
So I think that saying like to teachers like, hey, if you get an 8% or above pass rate in the AP exam this year and all your students, we're going to give you $5,000. And the teacher is only oriented on teaching things that relate to that AP exam, right? So now you're going to be getting an education that's AP exam, even though 50% of the stuff in that class isn't going to be on the AP exam. So now you're getting like the skimmed down education, and then the teacher gets a check at the end, right?
Guys, we all know teachers would never do that.
Yeah, never would do. I mean, they get underpaid, but
totally. So, how else do you think we can motivate teachers to actually apply the right curriculum, and other than monetary incentives? Because I totally understand how monetary incentives could corrupt the learning process or the teaching process for its students, especially when it applies to standardized testing.
yeah.
But is there another alternative? Is there a better alternative that we can suggest that can keep teachers motivated to do the right thing?
If I'm being
pay them more in general.
If I'm being completely honest, if you want better quality teachers, you need to pay them more, because nobody is going to want to be paid $32,000 a year to sit in front of a room, a bunch of 15-year-old boys, and like have to like teach them, because the chances are like
it's gonna be a sausage fest.
Yeah, exactly. Like chances are nobody in that class is paying attention. They're not respecting you. Like that's a horrible job, and especially teachers who are elementary. Like that's hard to teach. People are like, "Oh, you teach elementary school?" That is difficult, right? You have to deal with kids that are so young and so impressionable, and some of them don't speak, have things like that, and they're so young in their life, and you're expecting them to pretty much be a parent to them, and you're paying them like less than you pay people to work at like Walmart.
It's a age-old question that's becoming more and more of a dire situation, and I think I truly do believe in an unfortunate way that eventually teachers just won't exist. It'll be kind of something that's automated, like completely just online, people sitting in front of a screen. Or if we talk about 50 years in the future, it could be just, when a kid's born, they get this implant, like a Neuralink, and now they have instant access to information, and they don't...
Shout out to our sponsor, Neuralink.
Neuralink, if you put the @LuckyDuck code in the Neuralink.com, you get your free Neuralink waitlist. No. Something that just draws my mind goes to the scene in Star Wars: Attack of the Clones, where they show all the clone kids as they're growing up in front of the screens.
Yeah, I've never seen the movie.
What?
I've seen like 2 Star Wars movies.
Oh my God, get out of here! You're not welcome back. No. So basically, to build an army, I'll do it in layman's terms. This organization builds a clone army, and they have like hundreds of thousands of like the same person basically, and they're all like in front of this TV screen, learning, and they're like teaching, and there's no actual teachers anywhere. It's just because to teach at the scale of which they have of their army would be like literally impossible without this technology, right?
Yeah.
And so that's how I see. Just like the service industry is transforming to more automation, I I can truly see how education could move in that direction too. Because the fact of the matter is, unless we drastically overhaul the system of which governs, money allocation to the educational system, like it's not going to change. It's going to become worse, right? We're going to get lousier teachers, and then there's going to be that one county or that one state that does this test pilot program of like virtual learning or like completely online or like this like I don't know, a system that's maybe slightly better than what we have for like Florida Virtual or whatever.
Well, Florida Virtual is real teachers.
Well, it's real teachers, but you can see how that can scale, right?
Yeah.
You need one teacher for an unlimited amount of people that can log on.
Yeah, but the thing was just like, I mean, my work was still. I mean, there was like, for example, I took chemistry online because I needed to take another class in school, and I had one teacher, and she was very nice. But there were also 6 other teachers just teaching that subject, right? And let's say like each one with like 400 students, or not, probably less than that. I mean, probably like 200 or 300. They're still giving like personal feedback. I mean, I have their phone number if I ever had a question. I sometimes feel like that chemistry teacher did more to help me try and succeed in the class than like an in-person teacher has. Just because like I had that access to be able to talk to her and be like, hey, I'm having this issue. And I didn't have that a lot. It was just mostly on like smaller things. But she would always be there for the most part to like text me back. And it was nice to have like a teacher be able to like on a personal level, because when you have someone who's getting paid $30,000 a year and they have 120 students and they're just sitting in that classroom, they're teaching to a big group of people and it's not one-on-one, not everyone's receiving that same education, right? Mm-hmm. Because some people are more smart, like smarter than other people. I mean, some people are really good at one subject and really bad at another, and they need more help in that, and you can't get that and you feel like you fall behind. Right. I mean,
there's definitely a quality to teaching, to having a good teacher. In schools, some of my favorite subjects or classes that I took, where I would learn the most, or I did the best in that class, not just because it was easy, but because I understood it and really learned it, was because of the professors or teachers that I remember still, because they stood out because they were such good teachers. And yeah, maybe Neuralink will replace them. And if it works, that's great. But I think we will continue to see it's not putting attention and money into our education system is not like something we'll see tomorrow. The result of it's a generation from now. If we invest less money today, it's a generation of people where we will see American kids or whatever kids are less competitive or less educated than people in potentially other countries who put more money towards it. And so I think that's what people don't get is they see everyone knows a great teacher. Yeah. There's not all the teachers are bad just because a lot of them don't get paid well, but so people just, they don't think it's a huge issue like other things in society. And so when it becomes an issue, then we'll figure it out.
Definitely. I think part of being a good teacher is being able to care about your students in a way that's like, I can see, like, for example, if everyone did really good on a test and one person got like a 50 or something like that, to be able to approach the person and be like, hey, what's going on? I can help. I'm here for your help. If you need something, I can but some teachers aren't like that. Like, if you fail a test or do bad one, they'll be like, well, you should have studied. And that's not necessarily the thing. Like, you can study. That would
be me.
Yeah. You can study as much as you want, but if you don't understand what you're being taught, or you're falling behind, or you're just having some kind of like connection issue with what you're being taught, then you're never going to get that, no matter how hard you study, right? You have to have. That's what teachers are for. I'm not a teacher, right? I can't teach myself this material. I'm not like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Where it's like, I think that, so especially some of the teachers who had in the past have been like, oh, it's on you, right? You like, this is the real world now. which is so funny because I go into college classes, and that is not how it is for the most part. Like, if I need something, for the most part, my professors will be there to accommodate. And there are professors that are like huge dicks and won't be like that. Like, there's this one professor I have emailed 4 times, has never gotten back to me, and that's what makes a bad teacher. But there's a lack of communication. There's a lack of like caring towards how somebody ends up, right? Because ultimately that reflects on you.
I remember those teachers who would tell you those things. Like, they're not going to tell you when your essay is due. Yeah, they will, and they usually remind you like a lot.
I feel like yes and no. Like we all had the teacher that was like that in college. You know, I had
Yeah,
people-
sure.
I even in like art school, they were like, I had a teacher that was just like, if your stuff's bad, I'm gonna tell you it's bad. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's bad. You just need to do better.
Right.
And you know the whole thing turning to virtual learning. I mean, it obviously there's no replacement, and this is like anything with like removing the human experience, right? It's not a equivalent replacement.
Yeah.
It's a replacement to fill a need. It's to and I think it's going to be out of necessity because there's going to be less teachers. You know, you graduate now and you have people who get tech jobs who are making 6 figures out of college, and then you're the friend that pursued teaching, and you're like, they're all going on fancy vacations and buying nice cars, and they got the latest iPhone or whatever, and you're over here with like a flip phone still because you're on a $30,000, $35,000 salary, and you'll just get burnt out.
Yeah.
And to the guy that's you've sent 4 emails to and he hasn't responded back, that's probably because he's in the bucket of like, I don't get paid that much, so I'm not going to work that much.
Yeah.
Because we all know that teaching is showing up, teaching the kids, and then there's like lesson planning, and then there's grading. It's like you're taking a lot of your work home with you. You're staying late. You're coming in early.
Yeah.
You're doing all these things, and emailing you back. Whenever you have a question, that's that extra work that you have to take home with you. And so if you're a teacher and you're not feeling valued, and you don't feel like you're equitably paid or compensated, like you're going to be discouraged to say, well, why should I give a fuck about this kid who's emailing me about an essay when the system doesn't give a fuck about me.
Yeah.
And then you have this like vicious cycle of like year after year creating these disgruntled and sour employees, these sour teachers. And Myles is right. It's not something we're going to see or be able to measure like last year or in 1 year. It's going to be an entire decade or generation of kids. And when you were talking about the virtual online school, and the difference between the kids that are doing that versus you going in, I'm wondering like measurably how can we quantify the difference between what they're getting out of the education system versus what you're getting out of the education system, and how can we measure that basically?
I think that online school is a bad idea because one of the biggest parts, in my opinion, of growing up is being able to learn like how to interact with people. I think that okay, for example, you guys were you homeschooled too, Myles, for a little bit, or were you?
I was homeschooled for like a year.
Yeah,
like almost.
I think people who are homeschooled are sheltered from the real world. You will end up as a weird person.
I am.
Yeah,
I have a podcast.
And so, for example,
We talk about deep throating stuff.
for example, I think it's the pandemic special on South Park or something like that, where Stan comes to his mom and he's like, "I feel so lonely" or something like that, and he's like, wants to go back to in-person learning, and Cartman's like, "Oh, I hate people. I love being able to do anything." It's kind of like that, where some people have that preference of being alone, but like ultimately, if you're alone for 8 hours a day in your room doing work, like doing schoolwork, and you're not having that social interaction, you're not going out, you're not in a classroom with people like working together, building that other part of your brain that you need to function as a human being, so you're not like a socially awkward member of society. You know, you're not going to get that part because there's more to just education than just like learning your times tables, right? There's other things that go into that, and I feel like if teachers, you know, paying teachers so low, and you made an example about how, you know, you could be that one friend that like goes and becomes a teacher, is making $30,000 an hour or 30,000 a year, and you have your friends are making like six figures out of college, right? You know, those teachers are what makes it possible for that person to make six figures, like to have that education. So I think we'll get to a point if there's not something that there's no reform in the education system, that education to get where you're getting six figures won't be possible because there won't be teachers there to be able to provide that to you.
Yeah, but it would just bring down the general intelligence level, you know, down. So, you know, I get your point,
you're kind
but
of degressing in society.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think.
And then China will take all the jobs.
China will take all the jobs, very good jobs. Yeah, I mean, it's a relative thing, right? Like if there's less intelligent people, then the person that will generally fill that six figure will just be worse than the generation before him.
And the worst part is like lawmakers and legislators not doing anything about that. I mean, there's some that are, but like a lot of those people are pushed by big corporations and lobbyists and people who are donating, and it sucks. Because
instead they're focusing on not saying gay.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I'm not kidding, actually.
Yeah. But I just think there's so much more effort that could be put in on like a national level to solve some of these issues, because, you know, if you don't solve some of these issues now, you never will. These will stick around forever, right?
And maybe those problems will be solved by our sponsor, Mountain Dew. Please drink Mountain Dew responsibly.
Yeah.
Myles, when you did that Farmers Only ad on, like, I don't know, 5 episodes ago, I was talking on the phone with Ethan, and he was like, "Are you guys actually sponsored by
No,
Only
you came down. We were eating. We were doing like Zaxby's or something.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. He's like, "Are you guys actually sponsored by
Whose episode was that?
I don't remember. It was Logan. That's what it was.
That was Logan.
Yeah, it was Logan, yeah. It was a props to you, buddy, for really selling it.
Dude, I was like, really? Farmers Only, they accepted that? Like that is depressing.
Wow.
I mean, no shade to Farmers.
Is it actually Farmers Only?
Yes.
Is that the actual website? Yes. Because I almost thought that maybe I should change it so that they don't.
I tried to put the promo code
sue us.
It didn't work.
Also, I grabbed the other Mountain Dew that we have. Mountain Dew Code Red.
Code Red.
Classic.
Oh, I put in Farmer Only. It's just one guy. I'm Bill. You want some corn?
His interests aren't even human.
Yeah. Oh my god, just Putin trying to pose. FarmersOnly.com, ladies and gentlemen. Do you like trackers? And are you single in the country? What does the "in the country" mean? Like the United States country?
In the country.
You know, the country.
Oh, true. I live in the country.
When they say country, I feel like I think they're missing an entire audience of people. You know, we got the country, and then you have the hillbillies, and then you have the swamp people, you know. But I think the country men and women are a little bit more sophisticated than the hillbillies, and the hillbillies are a little more sophisticated than the swamp people.
Yeah.
There's levels of that shit. Is there swamppeopleonly.com?
You know, they should have innercitysingles.com.
Hillbilliesonly.com. Let's see what pops up. No, this site is under development.
You just downloaded malware.
A new business idea.
Oh no.
I have a question for you guys. So go back to what we were talking about earlier. Before working in a retail job, I had this like, even though I was like 60, if like an angsty teenager, right? Still am. But I had this like this view on people who worked in those like jobs where it was like, you work minimum wage, retail job, you're below me or something like that. But in reality, half of those people who just like are needing like a job to get money for school or things like that. I mean, a good amount of those people, like a good amount of the people I work with, for example, are people just like that, where they're saving up money for certain things. Like when you walk into, for example, like a big box store like Walmart, what are you thinking when you ask like that employee like to help you? Like, do you think that like working that kind of job is like scum of America, or do you think it's like essential?
I think there's a couple of different things because I think it would be like somebody who's down on their luck who needs a job. I think it's somebody who may have, to your point, like is in a transitionary period in their life of where they're trying to either go to school, save up money for this, that, and the other, or maybe it's just a good entry level job. Maybe you've never had a job before.
Yeah.
And then also like big box stores like Walmart, they hire a lot of people with disabilities and give them jobs. A lot of older people who may have aged out of their career and can't get a job because it's the competitive generation after them have filled that position. I think it's I don't want to call it the outcasts or like the other people.
Yeah.
And it's funny how like you were like 15 thinking that these people are below you.
Yeah. Right? But that's just kind of how people are raised. I mean, you like walk around with your parents.
Yeah,
and
it's a stereotype for sure.
And like for example, a couple episodes ago, you guys were trashing on retail employees at a certain store that I work at, and I think I called you or I called Logan, and I was like, not cool, bro. I was actually at work when I was listening to it too. And I was wait a minute, they're talking about me. Because you're like, those certain type of people that work in like these stores, you know that crowd of people.
Yeah, I think I was just trying to be funny or push a point and less of just like how I actually, and that's a lot of this podcast really is like me just being stupid and silly. But I think in terms of the retail world, that's probably the bottom totem pole of the totem pole. Not to say that you can't have a fulfilling, rewarding, a career that has longevity with like a big box store like Walmart or Target, or it provides I think for most people it provides. And there's probably like really good statistics that like people like Walmart have that they could provide like X amount of employees stay with us this long and they have a trajectory of career with them. But like a lot of people in Target management coming from like because Janie worked at Target for about like 3 or 4 years. A lot of those people worked their way up from like a cashier to a supervisor to a manager to a store leader, and it provided the tools and not necessarily like discipline like military or like sports, but it provided education and how to be a contributing member to society in that kind of way, and it taught you like skills like how to manage a team, how to, certain other skills that are required to run a store. And I think that those are valuable not in just like if you want to have a career in retail, but in other industries too. So I think, much like the restaurant industry, a lot of the restaurant industry, the people who become lifers are people that typically get into the gig doing it because they need a little bit of money to do whatever else they want to do, and then they realize the money's kind of good, and they somewhere along the line kind of just get stuck in that industry. And it's not like a bad industry to work in, but it's taxing on your body because you're on your feet constantly
Yeah.
all the time, and so it may not be for everybody, and that's okay. But it did provide a lot of opportunity for people who never had a job before,
Yeah.
and couldn't get hired by this person or that person, and there always has to be businesses like that, because without it, then how do you get your start?
Yeah.
Besides privilege or circumstance,
Yeah.
right? So people who are maybe in the lower socioeconomic class, providing opportunities to everyone and giving certain people opportunity, I think, is a necessary part of our society, and people like Walmart provide that. Sorry for shitting on Walmart. Didn't mean to. I mean, I meant to, but sorry you were at the butt end of that joke. Are you gonna get up here and slap me like Will Smith?
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
Cultural reference that's overused.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that. So when I was in high school, I worked at this place, and one of the jobs that I did was taking people's dirty laundry and sorting through it and putting it, putting it through the system to be dry cleaned, basically. And a lot of older people would come in and kind of just treat me like shit, kind of like what you just described, Ethan, of, oh, you're working at this little dry cleaning place. You must be poor, or you must be, uneducated, whatever. And I always hated how that felt, because I was just me. I was a high schooler, first off. I'm like, what else am I supposed to be? And yeah, I just hated that feeling. And I thought that no one should really have to ever feel that way, no matter, I mean, unless you're an asshole, and that's the reason you're in that job. But no one who, you don't know their circumstances. It could be they have to take care of their parents, so they weren't able to go to school, whatever it is. Or like Chase said, it's an older person who's been pushed down in the market. And so I've never ever gone into a store like Walmart and looked at someone and thought, I'm better than you, or wow, you work at Walmart. Just never. It's that the person shouldn't like feel horrible. In fact, I sometimes feel horrible for those people, because especially when it's older people, because I'm thinking, oh man, you're in your 70s or your retirement age or whatever, and this is horrible that you have to work here, for whatever. Like, everyone has a different reason. So
Those are the glory
Yeah.
years. The Walmart
Yeah.
years when you're like 70, 80.
Yeah, I was a good story
Those are
about
the
that.
good years, dude. I can't wait till I get to work at Walmart.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
when you get to be the greeter,
Dude, the greeter. Oh, that's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
I'm getting stickers out for returns and shit.
So
they don't even give stickers out anymore, do they?
no, they don't. Sadly. And
Dang.
talking back to what Miles said, I can always tell when I'm dealing with a customer and they never had worked a minimum wage job or worked like a retail job or something like that, based on the way they treat you. Like, they treat you like, oh, you work Walmart, disgusting. I had this when I was working in the pickup. I had this woman call because she was like, her order was delayed, and she was like, well, I'm like, this is the time I can come pick up my order. And I was like, oh, you can come pick up any time in the next 3 days. I was like, there should be no issue. And she was like, I was like, I'm really sorry for the inconvenience, and we gave her something. I can't remember. And then she was like, yeah, but I'm a businesswoman and I need my groceries now. And I was like, then come pick them up. It was literally like a 20-minute delay, right? And then I was like, man, I am really sorry. Like, I'm not sure what to tell you. Like, we'll do this and we'll keep the groceries for longer and we'll do something. And she goes, you know what? You're working along with the rest of your life. You are the scum of this earth. People like you. And hung up the phone. And I was like,
Oh my
what
god.
the hell?
Oh my god. That's like that scene in Ted where they fart in the restaurant and the guys are like, I'm here on business. That That's so crazy. I mean, it's obvious to me that lady was having a bad day.
Yeah.
Or like she was going through something, like the
Yeah.
whole saying hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
Or she's just a terrible fucking person.
Yeah, and I have this one story that I like to tell because it's just really funny. I was so basically at Walmart. Right? I work at Walmart.
Oh, he just said it.
Yeah, it
Big
doesn't
blue
matter.
box.
I work at Walmart, so basically how the online pickup works is people will check in, say they're here. We'll go out to their car, bring out their groceries to their car, right? And so you put what bay you're in, because on our store, there's like, it's on the side. It's like a special parking lot, right? And so 1 to 10. And then there's like delivery drivers have like A to E that they use, which they never do. And so this woman, I know her full name, Melissa Cobb.
Shout out to Melissa.
Well, shout out to Melissa
baby.
and her husband, Jason. And she kept checking in while she was in the store shopping. And, that makes us look bad as a department, saying like, oh, this person had to wait 20 minutes for their groceries. And it's like, no, we promise. They just checked in because we can't remove them at all, right? We have to like dispense the order and bring it out to them. And so the first time I called her, I was like, hey, it's okay. Like probably just made a mistake. Just make sure next time you come. And she was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just getting a couple things in the store. I was like, yeah, fine. Next time she came, checked in and I walked outside. I was like, oh, there's nobody in Bay 2. Like, what the hell, man? There's no, like, she drives like a big Silverado. Like, there's no Silverado here. And then I call her again. She was like, oh, yeah, I'm just picking up some groceries. Shouldn't be more than 10, 15 minutes. I was like, okay, ma'am, just to let you know, you have to check in when you're in the parking lot. She was like, well, I was in a parking lot. And I was like, yeah, when you're inside the parking space, right? You have to be in your car. And she was like, okay. And then so I let it slide that time. And so I was kind of getting upset. I was like, this is a constant issue because then it looks bad on me when I dispense the order because then it's like, Ethan, you made somebody wait 30 minutes to get their groceries. And it's like, no. And it makes my wait time go up, and like then I'm on the bottom of the list.
They rank you like based on how
It is
efficient you
so
are.
it is so weird because I have this big board and you can see it within the app, but they put like your Walmart number on there, so like you don't actually know, but you know if you're at the top, right? And it's kind of stupid, but I don't know if it's still like that. I haven't worked there in a while. And so the third time she came, did the same exact thing, and I was fed up with that. I asked my manager, I was like, what should I do? She was like, tell her exactly this. So I call her. I'm like, hey, when you get here, you have to be in the parking lot. You have to check in, put a bay number, right? It's running up wait times. It's inconvenient to other customers because then we're prioritizing your order over there, and you're not even here. I was like, next time this happens, we're just gonna go ahead and cancel your order and cancel your subscription, right? Because like this is just it's inconvenient to everybody. And she was like, I'll be outside in just a minute. And so her and her husband are in this car, and she's like a rather large woman, and he's a pretty big dude. I like big dude who's just like kind of like, yeah.
He's husky,
Big and tall. And this big pickup. So he's obviously got a small penis,
Yeah.
And so I'm
Small
putting the
feet.
groceries in the back of his car, and my manager at the time was like, oh, just let them know again while I got there in case they forgot that if they do it again, this and this will happen. I was like, okay. I let him know, and he goes, you know what? And I was like, okay, something bad's going to happen, right? Every single time that I come here, there's an order. My order is late every single time. And I was like, well, sir, it's because your wife checks in while she's inside the store. And he was like, no, that is your fault. And like points at me because they kind of pick up on Sundays. And so I'm always there. Right. And I was like, I'm sorry. I let her know the last couple of times that she needs to be outside in the parking lot. And he was like, start screaming at me all these things about your life really suck because you work at Walmart and all these different things. And then he's like starting to drive off, and he's like, you're lucky I'm not gonna get out of my car. And I was like, okay, sir. So he walks away, and then my friend standing next to him was like, dude, what a douchebag. And he goes, what did you say? And then he goes, I'm gonna get outside my car and beat your ass. And I was like,
It's a good impression.
I was like, okay, buddy. And so he just like drove away. And then I told my manager, and so they blacklisted them. Because, I mean, like, just, like, threaten me.
Dude, that's awesome. That is awesome. You can blacklist people.
So she was like, if anybody, next time she comes, let them know, and then they will never order from here again. And so the next time she came, did the exact same thing. So I got to go out there and be like, haha, you can't order here anymore.
Yeah, what she said.
She was very upset.
Oh.
Um,
You have been blacklisted.
Yeah.
Lady Melissa,
and so there
whatever
was
your
like,
name is.
and so I think they just did something with her wall. I don't know how they do that. I don't even know if she actually applied. My manager might have just said something to make me feel better or something like, oh, we'll do something about it, but you know.
Yeah, like whenever I have my bad experience, I tend to my reaction is tends to be relative to where I'm shopping.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm shopping at a Walmart and something goes bad, whether like it's with customer service
Yeah.
or like anything with my order,
It's kind of expected.
I'm kind of just like I shrug it off. I'm like, well, I'm at Walmart.
Yeah.
But if I'm at a high-end, designer store, not that I shop at high-end designer stores,
Best
but if
Buy.
I did, yeah, Best Buy, the Magnolia Home Theater Department, I think there's a level of reaction, or like if I'm paying a lot of money for service or for a product that I know, like I'm owed or not owed, but like there's an expectation, a different level of expectation when shopping at a higher end store.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I still get mad, like, like the guys or the gals or the theys or the thems working behind the counter don't own the fucking store.
Yeah.
They're not like, they don't have that what they call employee ownership most of the time. They don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's cool, man. I don't care either. Like, and I'm going to treat it as such. Like, you're just helping me out, and I appreciate it nonetheless.
I really hate it when people ask me a question and it's like, it's something I have no clue. Or it's like, why don't you guys have this? It says you have it online. And I was like, does it look like on Walmart.com? Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm sorry. It says on my app, it says we don't have it. It would be right here. I can go check in the back for you. And I get back and they'd be like, well, it's your store, so you should have it. And I was like, okay. I don't know what to tell you. And this is coming from a customer perspective because I do shop at Walmart. I get a discount, so might as well use it. I bought a pair of headphones, a pair of Beats, and they were like the over-ear headphones, and they just like kind of squished. I have a really big head. Kind of squished my head, and I was like, it's pretty uncomfortable to wear. They were nice, and they were on sale. And so I was like, okay, I'll return them. And then I went and visited Amelia, our sister, and I came back, and I was like, okay, let me return them. So I walked. It was just before work. Went up to the return counter, and I was like, hey, can I just return this? And she was like, yeah. And so there's this woman and a couple of people back there. I'm just gonna say this: the customer service employees are very incompetent. I think they're just lazy. This is coming also from a customer perspective, being a customer of Walmart. They're just really lazy. And I don't understand why. Like, I had somewhere to be. I had to go clock in. I had to go do whatever because I wasn't clocked in. And they just, like, in the middle of processing my return, I have somewhere to be, turn around and start talking to each other. And they, like, I don't know if they knew I worked there, but when you do a return and you use your associate discount, it'll pop up when they scan it again. And so it popped up, and then she kind of, like, went right back to it. And I was like, okay, so you're going to treat me different because I happen to work at the store that you're at? Like, why am I different than a customer? Because I still am a customer of Walmart, right? I just happen to also work there. So why am I any different? Same thing with, like, when one of the managers would come to go pick up their groceries through the drive-thru, and would be like, oh, my God, it's the managers. Treat them so nice. It's like, why are you treating them different than a regular customer? Like, why is this person's also paying $100 a year to have Walmart Plus to get their groceries, this, like that? Why, just because this guy happens to be above you and work at the store, he's not on the clock, can't do anything, why are you treating him different? Why don't you treat everybody like that?
Yeah, I think there's like maybe a couple of certain circumstances of why they react that way. First off, again, don't mean any disrespect to people who work at Walmart, but they work at Walmart.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you gonna do? Move me to Kmart? Like,
Yeah.
this is like not too high up on the totem pole of retail jobs, but
Which is weird because they're the biggest company in the world, and that astounds me how people have this such low view of Walmart, and I think they're like number one in the Fortune 500.
yeah,
Don't they also have the most number of people on food stamps?
for employees.
Yeah.
They also have the most employees in the world, so
I gotta say, most of the like my interactions with like crazy people have happened at Walmart.
yeah,
Well,
which is because that's just kind of like the stereotype is you go to Walmart and it's like, oh, you're at Walmart, and you're at Target, it's a step up. Which in reality, coming from someone who works at Walmart and I go shop at Target, it's not that big of a step up. It's essentially the same thing. It's still a department store.
it's different.
It is really not that. Actually, I've had more issues at Target than I've ever had at Walmart. The only time I've ever had,
You have a sketchy Target near you then, because
We do have a pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah, screw Target. I hate Target.
I feel safe when I go to Target.
No guys with suitcases asking me.
Yeah. No, I do understand that, but I mean, like, the quality of customer service I've received at both stores is, like, I'd say pretty much equivalent. I mean, at Target, they've been pretty, like, when I need to return something or I needed help with something, like, on an order that was, like, never came to my house, they've been pretty incompetent about it. They haven't helped me. And the same thing if I was a customer going to Walmart, I was like, hey, I needed this or I need to return this. It's going to be kind of the same thing, because in reality, that person applied to probably both stores, right? And so they're just taking whatever job they got and whatever job they wanted. There's still a lot of those people are still teenagers, right? Or people who are younger. It's going to be the same person. Just because you work at Target versus just because you work at like Walmart doesn't make you a different person.
I'm pretty sure a suitcase guy was a Walmart employee.
He was the customer service guy.
Yeah, it was like
I think it's about how you treat your employees. You
Yeah.
know, ultimately, training your employees. It goes a long way. I think Walmart could probably do a lot better, but sometimes Walmart gets their own pick of the litter. I say that not disparagingly to the workforce, but something that comes to mind is like Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A has excellent customer
Yeah,
service.
I mean,
you go there and you're like,
my pleasure.
There's an expectation that you're gonna be greeted in a nice way. They're gonna say good,
My
send you
pleasure.
on your way in a good way. And I think that has to do a lot with the company culture.
Mm-hmm.
They're like a very strong believer in the employee first type of culture, and they also hate the gays, but that has nothing to do with it. But no, I'm just kidding about that part. That
They
was
do, though.
a joke. Is an old joke. Somebody told me that once.
Do they still?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yes.
I don't think so. I think they've turned a new leaf.
I don't know.
Wasn't it the CEO who said it?
Yeah.
He's out of the picture.
Yeah.
Is he?
Days.
I don't think so.
I want to say it's a little different now these
Yeah.
days.
Wait, are they a sponsor? Is that why you're saying
I'm
this?
trying to work my way into. No, the politics aside, which it's like I don't, what they want to do with their money
it's a
is
restaurant.
whatever they want to do with their money. They serve chicken, okay?
Yeah.
They serve chicken, and it's freaking awesome. I love it. Like those little chicken nuggets dipping in the Chick-fil-A sauce is so freaking good.
It's like the same thing you said last night.
Yeah, it is. It is so good.
You know how they make those?
No, Miles.
And I
And
don't
I
want
feel
They-
like you're gonna tell me right
Yeah,
now, and it's gonna.
They
I'm a pescatarian.
they take a bunch of little baby chicks.
No,
No,
shut
and
up.
they
Not right.
they cut their head off and their feet off, shave their body, and then throw them to a vat of oil.
Yeah.
Hey, is there a mute button on this thing?
I disagree. I don't think that's true. Miles.
Yeah. Fake news. I don't know why you're saying this.
The vegetarian.
I'm a lobbyist for the Vegetarian Society.
PETA over here. PETA alert. PETA alert. We just like I just roll my cursor over his image and hit delete.
Yeah.
Like, thank God. All right, Chick-fil-A. It's so good. Those waffle fries, you dip that in some ketchup and then you double dip it into some Chick-fil-A sauce.
Yeah.
Oh my,
Those are good.
so freaking good.
I can't eat chickens for that.
Yeah, I think just treating your employees right. I mean, Walmart's an extremely wealthy, profitable company. But Walmart's biggest asset isn't the great value brand or the products it carries in its stores. Walmart's greatest asset is its people. From the retail setting to the corporate setting. Because without the people, there is no company to run.
Yeah.
And that's just the mere fact of things.
I would say, like, probably my biggest criticism, which you were talking about, it's how they treat their employees. I wouldn't say that, especially, like, management at my store, for example. I wouldn't say management at my store is, like, poorly treating our employees. They call it home office, is, like, the corporate. I would say home office is so far distorted from reality on what actually happens in a store, what the actual needs are for employees, that they make these decisions and they get paid for it. And like, for example, Walmart just got these new vests. They're rolling out throughout the stores into this year. My store just got some. They are really ugly. It is a solid light blue. You cannot match it with anything. They are 100% polyester. You can fit like a literal iPad. Like I've tried it, an entire iPad in the pocket. They're super high up, waterproof, right? And they get super dirty because of the light color. And they also give these polos, right? And they give us 3 polos and 1 vest. And they came out with this memo saying that, oh, you can wear the polos, but you also have to wear a vest. So what's the point of wearing the polo if you still have to wear the vest? They're like, I think that if Walmart wants to up like their game, I guess, in like the being taken more as like a higher end kind of as Target, I think that they should get rid of the really ugly vests because, I mean, let's face it, they kind of people look like homeless.
Also, just like construction workers.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of when I feel like for example, I wore a polo for about 1 or 2 days because that was before we knew exactly what was happening, and there was a very obvious difference in how people treated me because I looked more professional. I mean, my shirt tucked in, I had a polo on, it looked very nice, right? I looked like I worked at Best Buy, and there was an obvious difference in how people treated me because not only I looked more professional, I looked like I was in like a management position. Because that's an unusual thing to see. And then the other day came out, it was like, oh, you have to still wear your vest. And it's like, okay, well then what's my incentive to wearing this polo? Because
So now you look like you just work at Sam's Club.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, the Sam's Club ones aren't much darker. I mean, they're owned by the same company. And I think a similar thing for Sam's Club. I mean, it's, I think Sam's Club, you pay to go there. It's membership, right? I think they could be like step up their game too by getting nicer uniforms.
How crazy would it be if like home office Walmart was like, all right, starting in 2 weeks, everybody's gonna come in with a suit and tie. Suit and tie, baby.
Is they used
And you're all selling AT&T subscriptions.
Yeah, and the thing, I think certain employees, because over time Walmart has kind of like laxed their before I was working there about like a year, you had to wear a blue shirt, you had to wear a certain type of pants, right? People hated it because it was like, oh, I can only wear this to work, and it's like, okay, well, you're going to work. This isn't your house.
Yeah.
And I understand the wanting to be comfortable while you're at work, but let's face it, you represent a company, so you shouldn't be representing yourself. You know what I mean? People are like, I want to express myself, and that's okay. There's other ways to do that. I mean, you're allowed to put like pins on your vest if you want to express yourself, but like, you don't go to Best Buy, for example, or Target, and you see them all wearing the same uniform. Like Target, they have like the khaki pants.
Well,
and the blue
Target,
shirt,
I think
or the red shirt.
Target's changed their policy a little bit too.
Have they?
Yeah, because what they started seeing is, they wanted to be more inclusive and allow people to express themselves, and so they started letting people wear jeans.
Yeah.
That was a big change that I
Yeah.
saw when Janie was still working there, and it also attracted the more workforce because it's a lot more incentivizing for somebody to say yes to a job when they're like, you can wear whatever bottom you want
Yeah.
in a red shirt or a red tinted shirt, other than like you had to wear khakis and
Yeah.
a red shirt. Like it's just like, I don't know. It allows them to draw on a wider crowd of employees when they're in an industry of a dying or a workforce that is, shrinking essentially.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that Walmart should make this like super strict dress code. I'm just saying you should allow the employees to have that option to. Oh, bye, Miles.
Oh, Miles is gone. I think maybe he hit his limit or something.
Oh.
Womp womp. Maybe he'll pop back up. There's the I was looking up emojis. We got ourselves a little
We do.
infinite
It's
mirror
pretty cool.
situation going on.
This is a YouTube exclusive.
Yeah, if you guys are just listening, check out the YouTube.
Yeah.
Miles was like, "I'm peacing out. This conversation's getting super stale." Maybe this is a good way to end it. Do you have any other?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I feel bad. He's gone.
Oh well, it's all good. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, of course it was fun.
Appreciate it. Oh, Miles
Oh,
is back.
He's back. Oh, he's back.
Hey, what happened, dude?
Hey.
Hey guys. Well, that's what happens when you're living in Malaysia.
Nice, true. Those
We
static
totally weren't gonna end
thunderstorms.
without you.
Yeah, we were like, well, I guess this is a good way to end.
Yeah, I was pretty much sick and tired of listening to Walmart and decided to leave, but then thought it was rude. So
Yeah. That's what we figured. That's what.
Quite the exit.
Yeah. I saw it out of the corner of my eye.
I was just telling Ethan that it's awesome to finally get him on the podcast. I'm glad you're here. And Miles, be safe out there. Yeah, thanks for being on. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for watching. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on the Insta, the TikTok. We're going to get Patreon content out there soon.
OnlyFans.
And you want to leave anybody with some magical message to the world?
I don't know.
This is your moment. Don't waste it. Don't waste it.
I love Mountain Dew.
There you go, folks. You heard
Mountain
it
Dew
here
is
first.
great. You should buy it.
Yeah,
Mountain
sponsor
Dew.
us.
That's your cue.
Do
Send
the
us some
do.
free Mountain Dew.
Do the do. All right. Awesome. All right. Thanks, folks. See ya. Adios.